He understands that, how he is raised in the South to go through the front door. Anyone who goes in the back door is shady. I encourage you to read the whole thing. But that's an interesting quote there, Zach. What made you prick your ears up?
Well, I mean, to me, treated correct and where I'm wanted is he's approaching free agency again, potentially after next season. But even more importantly, he's extension eligible this offseason.
Right.
And it doesn't make any sense for him, as the rules are currently constructed, to sign an extension with Boston. Now, if he makes All-NBA, which is the thing that's hovering over this, the math changes. You can see it up there. He becomes eligible for that Supermax, which I think no player has turned down a Supermax. So I think Boston is probably rooting for him to make All-NBA, or for changes to the CBA to happen, the collective bargaining agreement to happen before this summer, which is possible, and they would be able to offer him more money than it's indicated there than that 4 years, $165 million extension in July. So there's a lot of complex variables hovering over all of this. But, yeah, Boston is going to have to make a decision soon, and Jaylen Brown's going to have to make a decision soon. Does he value security if it's offered to him, if he makes All-NBA, which is a whole separate issue, or does he value the ability to choose his own team if he wants to, like, look around at what's available for him?
Perk, you're a resident Celtic. What do you make of this?
Do you value what he brings to the table? He is tied for 10th in scoring right now with Trae Young for his league leaders in points per game.
So another quote, Perk, that's making the rounds on social media is in the wake of Kevin Durant asking for a trade, Jaylen Brown's name was out there quite a bit. And this was a quote that he gave The Ringer. He said, KD and JT, they're friends. They're working out together and whatnot. So I wasn't sure what that energy was. I wasn't sure what the direction of the organization was. So within the story, they also talk about, the reporter spoke to Brad Stevens, who said that they had a meeting after his name was out in these talks, and they all got on the phone, Jason Tatum, Brad Stevens, Jaylen Brown, and they talked about the fact that, no, we're not going to trade you, but we needed to clear the air on this. This is an interesting thought to kind of get the curtain peeled back on, though, Chiney, because we don't get to see this kind of discourse very often.
Yeah, and I do like this because, one, it's honest, and I think it's good. And honestly, is like, that's exactly what you want. You want someone in the front office to pair with another person that's considered the #1 option on that team and say, hey, what's this situation? And say, hey, we're deciding to go with this because this is what's best for us now. Now, we all know that there are circumstances where that could have changed, but today, this is where we are on this three-way phone call. I think this all comes down to JB trying to understand or make a decision based off of, does he want to be a #1 option, which he fully is capable of? There's 30 teams in the NBA. He's giving you 27 and 7 and I think like 3 or 4 assists. We all know that, like, when you hit that 26, 27-year-old age, if you don't have a championship, it's like, let me see what happens when I'm the #1 option. But the thing that is in the back of your mind is we just made it to the NBA Finals. We are a homegrown team that has developed our talent and, you know, we've matured into superstars and done it the right way, similar to the way we talk about the way the Warriors sort of grew up. Don't we want to see this through, too? He's in a difficult position, but it's a great position because he's done everything he needs to really, you know, capitalize on this moment.
Tie it all together. Two things. If the Celtics were ever interested in trading for Kevin Durant and including Jaylen Brown, and I'm not saying they were, it's because of all this stuff we're talking about. Would he leave? Do we need to be afraid that he's going to leave in 2 years? Second thing, this all comes down to winning on the court. Let's see what happens in the playoffs. The top of the East is really competitive.